All right, guys, before the show, we have to shout out our new sponsor. It is Freeze Pipe, everybody. The Freeze Pipe is amazing. Ever experienced the agony of harsh smoke, throat burning, or coughing attacks when smoking cannabis? The solution is Freeze Pipe. The secret is freezable glycerin chambers that cool smoke by over 300 degrees. From pipes to bongs, there's a chilly solution for you that's going to remove the afterburn and help reduce coughing. American-owned, guys. It's an American-owned company with over 100,000 happy customers. Ditch harsh smoke forever by visiting thefreezepipe.com and use code Virzi. That's V-I-R-Z-I for 10% off of your order. That's thefreezepipe.com and code Virzi for 10% off. Shop today for free shipping. Okay. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Virzi Effect podcast show. My name is Paul Virzi. You guys listening to episode 613. I am in here in studio in New York, and I have a guest I wanted on the show for a long time. He's a very interesting dude. He's hilarious. He's got amazing stories. His story is amazing, and I think I would say inspiring. Oh. And me and him had a really fun time in the green room at the stand, along with some other comedians, getting the pay-per-view UFC Fight 300. Yep. And then we were watching the Ryan Garcia fight the next week. I got Derek Drescher here with me. What's up, dude?
How you doing, man? Thanks for having me, Paul.
No,
Appreciate
thanks.
it, yeah.
I told you that. Yeah, lift your hat just a little bit so everybody could see your. See the dome, although I like the Yankee hat. Yeah, so we met at the stand, probably I would say like around pandemic, but then obviously the world came to an end for a little while. And then I found that we would joke about the Yankees. We would always just make some jokes about, like, we would make like those fake jokes where we'd be like, dude, did you hear about fucking Don Mattingly?
Yeah.
And you go, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And then like, dude, did you hear about Jeter? We would just joke.
Steroids?
Yeah, like we were just making all these stupid jokes up. And then I actually got to talk to you, and I found out that you have one of the most intriguing stories, but it's a story of redemption.
Yeah, well, yeah, continuing redemption, I guess.
Yeah, you're still fighting the fight?
I mean, yeah, it's just the thing with, like, when you're getting over, like, drugs and, like, being in jail and shit like that, like, the growth never stops. You know what I mean?
And
like,
how long were you, how long did you do in jail?
Altogether, it was almost a little over 8 years.
And you had
you
had never done comedy before that?
Before jail?
Yeah.
No, I did some talent shows when I was younger. I used to do, like, Jamaican accents and Indian accents and stuff like that. I was on stage, like talent shows.
So you were doing talent shit before. You're like, yo, if this talent shit doesn't work out, I'm robbing somebody.
Yeah. But I mean, it was completely different. Like, I couldn't do a Jamaican accent even if I tried now.
So you were just fucking around.
Yeah.
And then how old were you when you got into trouble?
I started getting in trouble like 13.
Okay.
Yeah. I was
and you're from where?
I'm from Brooklyn, but I've lived all over this great state.
Okay.
Yeah, upstate.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. Where were you, in Fishkill?
Oh, all over. Any place you could think. Orange, Dutchess, even fucking up by Canada, out by Buffalo, yeah.
So tell everybody, because a lot of people struggle with that, and,
right?
And I've had close people to me and friends and family go through some similar things. But now seeing you at the comedy club and seeing you kind of choosing this to make people laugh and be around it, and you're super funny. And I know that you're trying to work and continue to grow in this business,
right?
So yeah, man, if you want to just tell your story the way you want to tell it, or like what made you go, you know what, comedy and making people laugh is what I'm going to do after realizing that, like, you needed to change, right? Because you had that breaking point, right?
Yeah. So even when I was young, this is going to sound so lame, but like when I was young, even I knew when I was a kid, like 8, 9 years old, I was like, I think too much. I think about things I shouldn't be worried about yet. Like, I was thinking about, like, having a place to live when I was older, driving a car. Like,
right.
I would think about that stuff when I was a child. It's like, so I always knew that I thought too much. And then I had, like, my grandmother died when I was 12, and she was like the matriarch, and she really held the family together. And my mom worked like 2, 3 jobs. My father also worked multiple jobs. So my grandmother raised me for the most part.
Your parents were out working.
They were working.
Siblings you have?
I have one brother. He passed away.
Oh, sorry.
And then I'll talk about that too. And then I have a half sister in Puerto Rico who I haven't seen since I was like 5.
Wow. Okay.
So, and she's married and stuff now. She's still like, you know, she contacts me over social media and shit. So my grandmother passes away. I just don't know how to deal with it, right? And then, you know, it's like my mother and me, it's like we both lost our mother, kind of. And this is like no disrespect to my mom. She was just very busy. And I spent most of the day with my grandmother.
Yep.
And I just started acting out. My mother always used to be like, you know, you got to watch these kids you hang out with. But I was the worst one. So there was this key. I saw keys in a car one night. So, you know, I looked at a car, it was on the block. I looked in, I saw the keys were in the ignition. I just got in the car, started driving. I was like 13 years old. And then the cops started, you know, tried to pull me over, and it turned into a whole big fiasco. It was crazy.
So you were 13. You stole your first car at 13.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't easy. I would say I took it unlawfully. I didn't like steal it though. I didn't hotwire it.
Right. You just saw, you're a young kid. There's the keys in it. You're like, I'm going to take this thing for a joyride.
Right. And then I did something wrong, and the cops, you know, put the lights on. They were pulling me over, and I didn't stop. And next thing I know, there was 5 cop cars. And then next thing I know,
you're literally getting chased.
Then there was a roadblock, and then I held them at bay for like an hour until the car until it died.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, you're a 13-year-old kid in your first cop chase?
Yeah.
What, you held them off for an hour?
Yeah, dude, Paul, like, I used to have a joke about it. I stopped telling it because it's fucked up. Because they were like out of the cars, the cops, they were like trying to stay. Back then they had Slim Jims. You remember Slim Jims?
I remember, yeah.
Where they you know,
the flat thing that would go down, they would pop it up. Yeah.
If you locked the keys in the car, the kid was in the car. So they're trying to get in. I'm like going in reverse. And then I'm gunning it towards the roadblock and going. So there's police like literally flying over the hood of the vehicle.
Holy shit.
And I blew the engine, and then they got the doors. So I was holding the locks like this. I was like that in like the middle of the front seat. Like,
oh my God.
And then, they got in, and then they beat the shit out of me. Then they held me there till my mom got off work, and she beat the shit out of me. And then, I went to juvie the next day, which was wild because I remember telling my father, he came to court, and I go, hey, Pop, wherever they bring me, you think you could, get me some clothes or whatever? And he's like, Derek, you're not going to need clothes where you're going. They'll have a jumpsuit for you.
Oh shit!
And I was like, ooh, yeah.
You didn't realize the
brevity. Is that a good word? Is brevity good?
I guess.
No? You don't know?
Brevity is the briefness. The gravity, I think, is what you're thinking.
Oh yeah, the gravity.
Or I think, or the ramifications. You didn't realize at 13 years old that when you stole a car, and then not only did you steal the car, cops are trying to get in. You're like really resisting and all that.
Yeah.
So you're going to juvie.
Juvenile hall, yeah, juvenile detention.
So that's basically jail for teens.
Yeah,
correct?
like Spofford and places like that. Tryon.
Is it like a military school or is it like a jail?
No, it was like a jail.
It was.
Yeah. It was like gladiator school.
Okay.
Yeah. Fighting every day and all that shit.
Oh, shit.
It sucked.
How long were you in there for?
So until I turned 18, I did like 3 years in juvie, and then I went to big boy jail once I
This is
became an
all
adult.
from the car?
Well, so I got put on like probation. So they would keep me. The first time they kept me for like 11 months. They let me out, and then within 2 weeks I was back in for another year. Okay. And then I think I made it 3 months the next time, and then back in for another year.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then when I turned 18, I got arrested, and I was like, I'll go into the Army. And they were like, all right. And then I went into the Army, and I went to jail in the Army too.
What? Wait.
Yeah.
So, wait a minute. Yeah. So you went to jail, you went to Army jail. What do they call that?
I guess the brig.
Yeah, you went to that.
Yeah.
But was that for fighting there?
No, I was like stripping metal off of machinery and stuff.
For what? Like, what were you trying to do?
I was selling the metal, like at the scrapyard.
Oh shit! Wow.
That's like really. It's actually a federal charge. I didn't realize how bad that was going to be either.
Holy shit, man.
So then I got a dishonorable. So this is the thing. It was just so funny about the military. It's like you have this criminal sitting in front of you. Legally a man, right? But, you know, you see his record. But I'm a child. And I'm like, I'll go in the Army. And they were like, okay. And the Army just took me right in. Like, I should not have passed the psych.
The Army didn't care.
Not then. Now they do. Like, ever since 9/11 happened, they had this big influx of people joining. And they're like, we got too many scumbags. So, like, now if you have bad credit, you can't even get in.
Okay.
But back then.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So they're like, dude, you can't even get a fucking key right now. You ain't getting into the Army.
I heard speeding tickets now, they won't even let you in.
All right, so back then, when you're a kid, you're 18 at the time. You did juvie.
What was that whole go to the Army or go to jail thing?
Yeah. And then so then you went to the brig. You got dishonorably discharged. At how old now? How old are you now?
20.
Okay.
So, but you know what's awesome is I got my my discharge overturned to honorable. It took years, but I got it done.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the mental health stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, this is like, that's why it's like, you know, people that listen to the show know that, like, I went through stuff.
I will say this, though. Like, I do feel bad talking about Army stuff, like, around people who are in the military, because I'm what they call, like, a shitbird.
Okay.
That's, like, the slang. Because I was, like, on duty, I was good, but off duty, I was a fucking menace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of, you know, people know, like, the show, I'm this very friendly to the soldiers and stuff, but your honesty, you know, your honesty. And a lot of people, soldiers that listen to the show that I know have mental health issues too. Mm-hmm. And you were also doing things because of mental health issues, correct?
Yeah.
You know, so it's not like you weren't trying to disrespect the Army. You were just doing bad shit while you were there, right?
Dude, and it was the wild thing is that, like, my father was so fucking proud. He was so proud of me. And then I was proud too, because I was like, oh, you know, grandpa was in, you know, great grandpa was in, my uncle, these are like decorated war veterans. And then 9/11 happened while I was in.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, fuck, maybe I'm going to get my chance too.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't even keep my nose clean long enough, which...
Was that like all by yourself, or that you were like fucking around with like other soldiers were doing bad shit with you, or no?
So there was a group of guys who were doing something bad, and then I got hip to it, and I was like, "You're not doing it right. I'm doing it now."
Really? You were like the Army general of the bad guys?
Yeah, I was just like, "Yeah, you guys, you can make so much more money, so I'm gonna do this now."
Wow.
Yeah.
So everybody got put in the brig. They all got caught.
No, one of those guys actually told on me.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I just took it on the chin.
Okay, so then you get out. You get out.
Yeah.
And you're 20.
20. I couldn't even tell my family that I was like, I've been kicked out of the military. I was like, I told them I was on leave, and then like after a month, my mother was like, when the fuck are you
going back?
And then I had to tell them. Everybody was upset. That one hurt.
Yeah.
Fucking, yeah. So, but within a year of me being home, I was like right back into, crime, petty crimes and drugs.
You told a story at the stand the other night that really sat with me, where I was like, I got it. Well, I hit it off with you anyway, but we were talking sports and all that. But you said something at the stand the other night that really resonated with me when you were like, when you basically were at your you were at your lowest. You were at the breaking point.
Yeah.
And then after that, I remember it was raining. So yeah, tell that, because that hit me to the point where I was just like, fuck, man. If you think you're down and out,
right?
And I'm not just saying this to make you feel better because you're on the show. You are a triumphant story. You are a inspiring story, because I would say more than 50% of the people that have go down the road you went down. And because my mom would say that to me too when I was a kid, like, that person's going to be careful with that person. And to be honest with you, God rest their souls, some of them are gone.
Yeah.
Some of them are gone. Some of them have just went on to and they either just got these menial jobs where they're like in the town still. Some are dead, and some are still fucking around doing what they were doing. So for anybody listening to this, you are a really, like, this guy is just so people know, this guy is in the comedy circuit in New York. He's on stage. He's working with the best comedians in the country. He's super funny, and he continues to get better. But when you told me that story about your breaking point, about your low, that really made me go, fuck, like, this dude is actually a winner.
Right. I appreciate that. I mean, so basically from 12 to 33 or 13 to 33, those 20 years of my life are It's all just institutions and pain, right? And most of it, you know, because of me, because of my own self. But when I got clean, this time is August 28th will be 10 years since.
Oh, nice.
Since I've been clean off of heroin. I was going to this outpatient place just because, you know, they would give me methadone and I'd get some counseling. It was just like a harm reduction type of thing. But I was still shooting heroin like regularly. And
But you would go to that outpatient thing for like an hour, like a session?
I would do a one-on-one with my counselor, and then I would go to like a group, right? And I walked in there one day, and she's like, you're gonna die.
Oh yeah. I remember you telling me.
She's like, you're gonna die. Like I remember like looking at it, I had like a long sleeve shirt on, and just, you know, there'd be a couple dots of blood here, and it's from me shooting up, and, you know, her just being, she's like, you won't make it. Will you let me help you? And I was like, yeah, fuck it. And she's like, all right, I'm gonna send you to this recovery, this therapeutic community in Queens, and they're gonna get you on. We're going to prescribe you Suboxone, which is to help you get clean off opiates, and they're going to put you in a Suboxone program, and it's going to help you. So I get there, and they piss test me. They test my urine, and they're like, you are not positive for Suboxone at all, but you're positive for morphine and cocaine. They're like, where the fuck is your Suboxone, dude? And I was like, oh, I sold it. And the guy just started laughing. And I was like, what? I'm supposed to be honest, right? He's like, yeah, that's good you're being honest. But he's like, I can't take you. I can't put you in a Suboxone program if you don't have your Suboxone prescription. We're not going to prescribe you Suboxone now. Yeah. He goes, now we're going to completely detox you. There will be no Suboxone. He's like, we're sending you to St. John's Behavioral in Yonkers, right?
Yeah.
So this Dominican guy picks like 4 of us up in a van. And it was like, he almost killed us about 10 times. Like, he used his strut. It was just like the car was in like PR or DR, like no side view mirrors. He's fucking going all over the place. None of us cared. We were fucking. I was like, I hope he fucking crashes, dude. I don't want to go because I know. I try to know
what's coming.
I know what's coming. The pain is going to.
Yeah.
It's gonna suck, right? And I get.
Wow.
He drops me off at St. John's Medical. I walk in and they're just like, no beds. I'm like, what the? What do you mean no beds? They just drove me here from fucking Queens, 2.5 hours. He's like, yeah, no beds. You got to come back tomorrow. I'm like, where the fuck do I go? I don't know anything about Yonkers. I know like DMX is from here, and like Mary J. Blige, the Locks. I don't know shit. They tell me to go.
I was born in Yonkers, St. John's Riverside. Yeah.
Were you really?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I think St. John's Behavioral is like not connected to Riverside, but it's like
St. John's Riverside Hospital, probably real close to it.
Yeah. It's like it's all for behavioral health. So they're like, yeah, no beds, and I'm like, well, where the fuck do I go? And he's like, go to this place called the Sharing Community, or is it the Giving Community? Some shit like that. So I go there, and it's like a shelter, right? So I get there, and they're like, sorry, man, beds are full. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, at this point, like, I'm starting to get chippy. I'm like, I might as well get high,
right.
You know? And he gives me this red ticket. It's like a Staples, like, raffle ticket. And the lady, actually, she goes, go to Chicken Island. Which I'm like, what the fuck?
Go to Chicken Island?
Chicken Island. I'm like, what the fuck is Chicken Island? She goes, just follow the people. You'll see them. Just go to Chicken Island, wait for the red van. When the red van gets there, give them this ticket. I'm like, this sounds like a fucking quest at a Tomb Raider or some shit, right?
Yeah.
So there's this migration of people walking. I'm like, are you guys going to Chicken Island? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, so I start walking with them. We get to Chicken Island, which is it's a closed down Caribbean chicken spot. Right? We get there, and then vans start coming.
And where is this now?
This is in Yonkers.
So Yonkers, Chicken Island's in Yonkers.
Yeah, it was closed back then.
Okay.
So, but it was
vans are showing.
It
up.
was like there was like a picture of like a chicken, like with a bucket of chicken, and like a fucking tropical, like a palm tree.
Sure.
Chicken Island.
Yeah.
So.
Oh shit.
Because bro, people are told I'm thinking people are fucking with me. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's this whole big conspiracy. So a white van comes, people go up to the white van, a blue van comes, and then the red van comes. And I get up there, I'm like, here's my ticket. They're like, full. Close the door. So now it's just me and this other dude who's like whacked out of his mind on like K2. Like I could smell it. You ever smell K2 before?
No.
Mike, you? It's hard. It's a pungent, disgusting smell. It's like synthetic weed. There's all kinds of chemicals and shit.
Okay.
It makes people crazy. He's talking. He's speaking gibberish. I can't even understand him. I'm like, yo, man, how do we get back to the Sharon community? And he's just like, oh, and I'm like, fuck. And he starts walking. So I'm like, I got to follow this guy. And we start, and I'm just hoping he goes back to the shelter.
Sure.
We start walking, dude. It starts pouring. I mean, I remember he grabbed a piece of cardboard out of the trash, and then I did too. I'm just walking, holding it over my head.
Shit.
And I'm like, I get back over there. I'm indoors, and I'm texting the girl I was with at the time. She was working out Valhalla. She's a nurse, an RN. She working the night shift, and I'm like, hey, I'm in Westchester. I'm not far away. You think you could come let me sit in the car until they have a bed for me at the hospital in the morning? And she's like, are you out of your fucking mind? She's like, absolutely not am I going to give you the keys to my car. And she goes, do not come anywhere near my job. And she was 100% right. Because looking back at it, the way things were going and the chippier I was getting, I probably would have stole her car. And brought it to a chop shop in Queens by the old Shea Stadium.
And get money, yeah.
Yeah. And got high. So she's like, don't bother me. I will call the police if you come near here, right? Plus Valhalla, there's a jail there too. So not too long for me to.
Yeah. Wow.
So then the lady at the shelter, I'm like, I couldn't get in the van at Chicken Island, and I'm like, I have nowhere to go until the morning, and I was like, I'm kicking dope, and I was like, I have a bed for me in St. John's in the morning, and she's like, all right. She's like, you could sleep on the floor here. She gave me a pillow and a blanket. And you don't really sleep when you're kicking. Like your legs.
Kicking is the detox, right?
Detoxing, yeah. Your legs and your arms move involuntarily. You might like sleep for like 30 seconds, but while you fall asleep, you're having a dream that you're getting heroin.
Wow.
And then you wake up. I mean, that's how it was for me. And then you wake up and you're just like, you know? And 7 a.m. comes. I probably slept like an hour altogether. And I get on the bus, takes me back to St. John's, and I get in at St. John's, and they put me on methadone for 3 days. It was like, it might have been 4 or 5. I started at 20 milligrams, and they tapered me down to 5 real quick, just to take the edge off. You know what I mean? And then they put me on some other stuff to help me sleep. But I remember my last day on the methadone, the nurse who was giving out this Jamaican lady, I may try to do my Jamaican accent. I haven't done it in years. She goes, what's your dose? Yeah. And like, I'm a junkie. I'm a fucking, I go 20 milligrams. And then she goes, what's your name? I go, Drescher. She goes, boy, your dose is 5 milligrams. You lied to me. Don't do, the devil is a liar. So it was like, she was laughing and I was laughing, but that kind of always stuck in my head. I still remember it to this day, like clear as day. Why
would they give you methadone if you were going through detox?
So it will alleviate the dude. Yeah, just a straight up detox. No methadone, no Suboxone. I mean,
could that kill you or no?
I don't think so. I think the only withdrawal you could die from is like Xanax and like alcohol or whatever pill group Xanax is in. I forget what they are. They're not barbiturates. Mike, you know what they are? Benzos. There we go. Yeah. Benzos and alcohol, I think, are the only two you could pass away. So
she was
now heroin or opiates. You feel like you want to die. You want to die. Yeah. Go ahead.
No. So. All right. So
I think they went 20, 10, 5.
So they give you the methadone. They give you a low dose of methadone to kind of to deal.
Just to deal. Yeah, I mean, you're still not feeling great.
Right.
But it helps.
It takes the edge off big.
It helps a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Because a lot of times people will go into detox because there's detoxes where they don't medically detox you. And, dude, it's fucking painful. And if you have the power to walk out, you'll leave.
No, I heard of detoxing where people literally shake and cry in a bed and they're sweating and they're shaking and they're trembling for days until it
Shitting
automatically.
on yourself.
I heard nightmare stories. So now, if that red van was there, where would it have taken you to another
It would
shelter?
have took me to like, from what I understood, it would have taken me to a basement in a church that had beds, and then I would have went. So
Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you just walk back, and now you said when she said that when she knew you lied when you went 15 milligrams over.
Yeah.
You said that stuck with you.
It stuck with me because she was like, "Boy, you're a liar," and it just hit home. But I was like, "Fuck, I am a liar," but she also, I mean, what else? I feel like she kind of expected me to lie because that's what junkies do. So if a nurse is like, "What's your dose?" And I know that they started me at 20. I'm not going to say 50, 20.
Yeah, that's crazy. Dude.
Yeah. I wonder if I would have taken it if she gave it to me.
And how old are you at this point?
33.
Guys, before we continue with the show, we got to shout out our new huge sponsor. We're so excited. It is the Freeze Pipe, everybody. Ever experienced the agony of harsh smoke, throat burning, and coughing attacks after smoking cannabis? The struggle is real, but the solution is chili. That's right. I am talking about the smoothest way to light up with Freeze Pipe, guys. All right, Freeze Pipe makes a unique line of freezable pipes, bubblers, and bongs that are 80% colder than using ice cubes to chill smoke. The magic is freezable glycerin chambers that come on every piece. Simply pop the chamber in the freezer for an hour, and as smoke passes through, it's instantly chilled by over 300 degrees, so every puff arrives ice cold and cough free. I know with me, the only thing that I hate about smoking is the big cough. When I smoke, I like it to be smooth. This does it. It makes you not have those coughing fits, and it's not as harsh, okay? And I got to be honest, these pipes are beautiful. Like, they sent this thing to me, and it's like beautiful. Like, I know, the glass is like artwork. It's actually insane. It's awesome. And it's such a different experience for the better. American owned, and with over 100,000 happy customers, ditch harsh smoke forever by visiting thefreezepipe.com and use code Virzi for 10% off of your order. That's thefreezepipe.com. Code Virzi for 10% off. Shop today for free shipping. Okay. So, and then now, where does the comedy happen?
So after I get done there after about 10 days, right? And then they send me back to Queens on the this place on the Van Wyck Expressway, which, dude, I'm going to be honest with you, was like prison. It was like,
really?
There was so much. Everybody had free reign because it's like a hub. Everybody's waiting to get placed in another program. So there's really no structure. There's no groups. There's motherfuckers cutting people's hair in the bathroom, smoking cigarettes, fucking shooting dice, playing cards. So you're just like, I gotta make it out of here alive. That's the feeling I got from it, right? So they sent me to a TC, a Therapeutic Community on 43rd Street, and I walk in there, and it's like basically everybody that's in there is either looking at jail time, chronically homeless, substance abuse, and I was all of them. But that's what everybody's problems are in there. And the way they run shit there, and I don't really think there's many places left like this. They call it a therapeutic community, but it is very structured, and there's a very pull yourself up by the bootstraps mentality there. And if you don't want to march to the beat of their drum, they'll kick you out. They'll be like, all right, we'll call the cops to come get you, right? If you don't want to listen to what we have to say, we'll call the police to come get you, take you to Rikers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I get there, and they're like, they're kind of abrasive. They're like, oh, man, this guy stinks, saying shit like that. I'm like, then they're like going through my property. They're like, oh, I'm like, what? I've never dealt with this before. I'm like, what the fuck, right? And then they're like, you have to address the group as family here. That's how we talk to each other. You don't say, hey, everybody. You say, hello, family. So they get me all checked in. They bring me down to group, and they're like, all right, tell the family while you're here. And I'm like, hey, family, I'm here because I want to get my life back.
Sure.
And somebody just goes, shut the fuck up.
Really?
And I'm like, what the fuck? And that's and this is just how they do things there. And like, if you react to anything like that, it just knocks you back further. Like they literally tear you down and build you back up.
Wait, that was on purpose?
Oh yeah.
So when they said shut the fuck up, that's on purpose?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
100%.
I thought that was just somebody like fucking with you.
No, he was 100%.
No, like,
I mean, he was fucking with me.
He was fucking you, but he was fucking with you, but he did that on purpose to see how you would react to that.
Yep.
And if you would have reacted like, "What? Fuck you! Don't talk." If you would have done that, then you said,
yeah, you're
it
done.
set you back.
Yeah, you're done.
So
yeah.
you just, oh wow.
Yeah. So, and I was in that place for 18 months, like basically having my brain rewired. So we would group like 3 or 4 times a day, and then you'd have your one-on-ones with your social worker. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I look back at it.
That's insane.
The
man.
place was great, dude, because they really kept you on your toes, because they would just take shit away from you out of nowhere just to see what you would do. They'd be like, oh, Drescher, you're going to see your family this weekend? I'm like, yeah, I got a pass. No, you're not. The pass has been revoked.
Oh, shit.
And you're just like, and some people would bug the fuck out.
Wow.
Yeah. And then you're done. And
But so that's all a test to see if somebody can like be calm and cool and like patient.
the
Like what?
goal was basically, Mike, you heard this the other day, didn't you?
It's still riveting, though. I can hear this 50 times. I'm sure you've told it a billion times, but I could keep hearing
Well,
it.
tell it however you want to tell it. If you don't want to, I don't want you to be bored with it.
No, I'm not
I just
bored with it.
I want the listeners. I want the listeners to know.
I hated the staff that worked there. I hated my peers because, it wasn't like we were in competition. It's just like, people, they want to get a rise out of you. But I started to understand, they were like, we do this way because they're like, yes, treatment is hard, therapy is hard, but when you leave here, when you walk out of here, and you don't have anybody telling you breakfast is at this time, lunch is at this time, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're going to be on your own, and you're going to need discipline, and things are going to be taken away from you. Things aren't going to go your way when you're on your own outside, and you can't control that. But what you can control is how you react. So they're like, you going to cry and be a baby and go get high? Or are you going to just fucking eat it and move the fuck on and figure out how you can get back to where you got to get back to?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's heavy, man, because so you would say that
It worked for me.
Institution works.
For me. It don't work for everybody.
Some people rebel and say, fuck this.
I mean, there's a lot with newer treatment. Everything fucking evolves, Like, you remember when the UFC started? It was like one guy with a boxing glove fighting a sumo wrestler.
Yeah.
And then look at what the sport's turned into now.
Sure.
So I feel like it's the same way with recovery. Like, different things work. Some people take a more holistic approach. But that really worked for me.
So that resonated with you. Now, and how long ago was when you left that?
I left there. I almost had 2 years clean by the time I left there. So I was there for about 18 months.
Okay.
So when I left there and went back to East New York, I was sitting around about 18, 19 months clean. So, and then that social worker was right, because I struggled hard when I got out. And I'm not even just, was staying clean, wanting to stay clean, but just like, it was hard for me to get a job. And then when I did get a job, it didn't pay well. And then I owed fucking back child support. And, I'd have like $40 in my check after all was said and done. And then I would have to stretch that for groceries. And luckily, I was on Section 8.
So and where were you living at this time?
East New York, Brooklyn.
Okay.
Milford Street.
So you got a place?
I had a place, yeah.
Did they hook that up or no?
Section 8, yeah. Paid for my rent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just got to get on your feet. You got to start. And then, so how old are you at this time now?
About 35 years old, yeah.
2 years clean at 35.
2 years clean at 35. I was working. My first job I got was as a delivery guy in a diner. And then, first I was washing dishes. Mm-hmm. And then they let me start doing deliveries. And then I became like a line cook. And then after that, I got some recovery coach, some peer mentor certifications. and then I worked in a homeless shelter.
Okay.
And dude, I'll be honest with you, like most of my job there was like saving guys with Narcan. So it was like
Saving what?
saving a lot of, like, Narcan is what they give you when people OD. So they're like, my desk at the shelter where I worked, like my whole bottom drawer was just Narcan, to where if somebody overdoses, you fucking
Inject them with it?
yeah.
And
Now it's different. Now it's a spray. They spray it up the nose. But my radio would be like, we got another OD.
and it saves their life?
Yeah, it rips the opiates right off the opiate receptor.
Oh, okay.
So it wakes up, like a lot of times when you're ODing, your respiratory system will start to shut down, nervous system, shit like that. So when your body gets the Narcan, it rips the opiates off the opiate receptor, and everything just starts working again. It does. You start withdrawing automatically. So a lot of people are actually really pissed when.
Because it like takes the high away right.
Yeah. Last thing you know, you were high. Now you're sick.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so some people get really there's a video, I'll send it to you. Some guy gets saved, he wakes up, and the guy who saved him, he kicks him in the balls.
Really?
Yeah.
Because he was like, what the
People get mad. Yeah, my brother, fucking God rest his soul, I found him OD'd once, and we were living above a restaurant. I'm trying to find a way to make this funny, Paul. I'm sorry.
No, dude, listen. No, listen, I always say, like, this podcast is sometimes it's about real shit. You know, it's about real shit. Like, funny will come with funny comes, but don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I think your story is inspiring, and that's, you know.
So now me and my brother, like within a couple months period, we both saved each other from overdoses. It was wild because we were in a shooting gallery. We were all getting high. It was like me, my brother, some other guys. My fucking brother ODs. And I get the phone to call 911, and somebody just came up behind me and snatched it. And they were like, "Don't bring the cops here." And I was like, "Yo, my fucking brother is dying, right?" So now he's a big guy too. So now I'm like, you know, fucking. It was insane. And then the same thing happened with him with me, but he was actually. They were trying to like keep my body there, right? And my brother dragged me out, and when they brought me back to life in the hospital. Fucking, when I woke up, dude, my fucking toe knuckles were skinned to the bone because I had no shoes on and shit. And he, like, you know, was dragging me. And
Jesus.
And then when I wake up, I hear him. When they like bring me back, I come up. I'm like, I just hear him. He's like, please save my brother. Please save my brother. And then, you know, once I stopped puking because I threw up, and I was like, I'm cold. And they put like this warm blanket on me. And I'm like, brother, I'm alive. And he's like, you want me to call mom? And I was like, no. And he's like, do you want me to, he asked me if he wanted me to call my girlfriend. I was like, no, I don't want anybody to see me like this, right? And then they got me stable, and the doctor came in to talk to me. Now, first was the nurse, and she said to me, she goes, you're the only one we've saved this week.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the doctor comes in, and he goes, most of the times when we save people's lives, they're very upset. He goes, you were not like that. He's like, you seem like you are defeated. And I did 100% feel defeated. Like and he was like, we're going to get you into a program. And I was like, nah, I'm not going into a program.
Yeah.
I was like, stop. I'm walking out of here today, like as soon as I can.
Yeah.
And I did not use with the same like ferociousness after that. Like I knew it was over. I knew that I still might die with like a needle in my arm, but I knew like how it was going before. It was not like it wasn't
the same.
It wasn't going to be the same. It wasn't like I was having fun before, but like.
Was it like a second thought, like something like where you were like, I gotta not do
I just
this?
had a moment of clarity, and I just knew. I was like, and you know, this leaves a lot of open space. I was like, I'm either going to die, or I'm going to change my life. And let's see if I could give myself enough time to change my life.
Fuck.
So, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So I used for another 8 months after that. And then I got clean. That was in December, and then I got clean that August.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So now this with my brother though. This one I have to tell the story.
yeah, please.
So me and my brother were living above this restaurant, and every night, no matter what, and my brother was getting high too. We would we get high, and he would cook. Like he could do stuff while I wasn't like that. I'd be like,
Yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like he had energy. He would clean and shit. He'd nod a little bit, but he wasn't like me, you know. So we get high, and then he's just like, "Oh, I'll I'll fucking let you know when the food's ready." And I nod out, and then like I come to, and like I look at the clock. It's like fucking like an hour later, and there's no food. And I'm like, oh, well, I wonder what's going on. Because he would usually wake me up, put it on the nightstand. So I go down to his apartment. His door's open a crack. I open it up, and he's like face down on his bed. So you have brothers or sisters?
Yeah, two brothers and a sister.
Are you younger or older?
I'm middle.
You're in the middle, so you have a younger brother.
I have an older brother from the first marriage.
Right.
And then my mom remarried, and I have a brother and sister there. Younger.
So I don't know if you ever had a thing with your brother where, like, there's that way you could touch them that annoys them.
Yeah.
So, like, I used to,
with them.
Yeah, I used to do this thing to his leg, like around his thigh or even the back. Like, I'd fucking grab him, and it was like he'd be like, oh, he hated it.
Yeah.
I did that to him while he was laying down, and he didn't move.
Oh man.
So I was like, fuck, Darren. I'm like saying his name, Darren, and I turn him over, and he's like blue. He's blue. He's fucking blue like that fucking blue light up there.
Yeah.
And I like pick him up. I'm like, Darren, and he's just nothing. And then he's a big guy. I fucking dropped him, and he like hit his head on the floor, and I was like, fuck. And I sat him up, and I opened the fridge. He had and he had some water, so I started dumping water on his head. And like if a baby stops breathing, you like blow in their face.
Yeah.
So I started like blowing into his nose, and he took a breath. He was like, and like all this fluid fell out of his mouth.
Whoa.
And dude, I fucking run downstairs right into the fucking restaurant. I'm like, my brother's dying. I need an ambulance. And dude, there just so happened to be a couple paramedics there.
What?
Yeah. And fucking, I brought him up. An ambulance got there quick. And dude, it wasn't looking good. Like I heard them a couple times like, I don't know. The fucking ambulance gets there. They're bringing him in. They put him in. And I'm like, when they brought him out, I was like, my brother's gone. And then they gave him Narcan in the ambulance. And the reason I knew he was alive is because the back of the ambulance just started going like this, fucking shaking side to side. He's a big guy, and he was upset that he wasn't fucking high anymore. Oh. But yeah, that.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like this is like Joe Dirt. I could just listen to this. This is incredible, man. This is incredible shit. I thought I did not think that was going to end well in that part,
That one, me and my brother, we both, he went through so much more than me, especially later. Like he ended up
younger or older than you?
He's younger.
Okay.
He's younger. And that always kind of sat horrible with me that, every young little kid wants to be like their big brother for the most part, but like, when I had like 3-4 years clean, he ended up getting shot at point blank range twice in the stomach. Survived.
Whoa.
17 surgeries. Yeah. Got shot like that and then attempted to drive himself to the hospital and like crashed up on the curb on his way there, like within a block. Like you could have hit the hospital with a rock.
Fuck.
And
okay.
Am I getting too off?
No, dude. This is wild.
Riveting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's obviously a bad story, but a good ending for you, and it's.
So my brother, I miss him a lot, man. I really do, because he was talk about funny, man. He was probably the funniest guy I've ever met in my life. I mean, just funny, like for real.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think of the word now.
Like naturally, just
easy,
naturally funny,
hilarious.
Yeah,
hilarious. And he had a good soul. And we called him Smiley when he was young. When he was a baby, we called him Yoda because his ears like stuck out a little bit. He was just a good dude, and he was super, super supportive of me. Like once I started doing comedy, and I just fucking he he'd come and he'd be like, brother, you were funny. He's like, I was the only one laughing, but you were, you were, he's like, I get what you're trying to say. I get what you're trying to do. And then after he got shot, so once I became a counselor. Like I left after I got done at the homeless shelter, I worked at the Marriott for a little bit. And then I actually started working for a nonprofit organization as like a counselor. I remember my mom calls me like 3 times in a row. I was busy. I was like doing a report, and I kept sending her the voicemail. She called again. I was like, I got to answer. And she's like, you know, your brother got shot. And I was like, is he alive? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, where is he? And she was like, St. Luke's in Newburgh. So I left work. I walked right to Port Authority, got on a bus. I was there in an hour. And it was bad. It was bad. It totally, the point, you know, he got shot in the abdomen twice, point blank range. Basically just fucking blew his stomach apart, scorched all that skin. They just had like this big gauze laying over him because this was all exposed. You know what
Jesus.
I mean? And he died a couple times after they got him stable. You know, they were able to bring him back, but he had fevers and fucking infections and all that shit. And it took them about 3 or 4 months to get him good to where he could come out. And then he came and stayed with me in Brooklyn. So I got to spend a really good chunk of time with him there because he had a colostomy bag.
Yeah.
And at first they were like saying, they're like, oh, we might not be able to reverse this. You might have this for the rest of your life. And they were able to reverse it. But I'm just really happy that, because if I was on drugs, I couldn't have offered that
Sure.
to him.
Sure.
You know, and the way things work out, you know, I don't know if it was meant to be, but I'm just glad I was able to offer him a safe space and place for him to recuperate.
Yeah, no, it definitely was meant to be.
Yeah, you know, after that happened to him, because, you know, big kid, tough kid, you know, and now, yeah, I could see how vulnerable he felt with that,
Yeah.
you know, contraption on him, that thing, you know. I remember the first night he came home from the hospital. He wasn't comfortable letting it fill up the bag. So if anything went in it, he would take it out, throw it out, put a new one on.
Yeah, he was self-conscious. Yeah.
And I remember and it would fill up with gas. I don't know if you ever seen anything.
No.
He woke me up at like 4 a.m. He's like, brother. We used to call, that's how we call each other brother. Brother, wake up. And I was like, what's wrong, brother? And he's like, I have no more bags. And I was like, fuck. And I was like, they didn't give you any bags at the hospital when you left the hospital? He's like, oh, they did. They gave me some. So then, like, you know, I'm like looking through his paper. I'm like, Darren, these are supposed to last you like a week. You know, I was like,
he's going through them.
yeah. Because any little thing got in there, he wanted it off of him. So I was like, all right, I'm going to get you more tomorrow. And I found like a medical supply place. I went and I bought him some. And then, you know, I was just talking to him, I was like, you got to try to leave it on you for a little while longer. You're going to, this is not, we won't be able to afford it financially. We're going to fucking put a shopping bag around your stomach. You're gonna have to shit into that.
This is wild.
And he stayed with me for about a year. Until they got the colostomy bag off. Then he went to work. And then he continued to have more surgeries. And he would come stay with me. And the surgeon he was working with was in the Bronx. So there's this guy that saved his life, dude. This guy's specialty is gunshot wounds to the abdomen. Mm-hmm. He's like, I don't know, like fucking Ricky. You know how Ricky Henderson was good at stealing bases?
Yeah.
This is
what this guy does.
This is what this guy does.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't for this guy, you know, seeing how much shit he's seen over the years, like he wouldn't. There was like nobody.
This is what this guy does.
Gunshot wounds to the abdomen.
Yep.
He's the best.
He's the best.
I also remember before they're about to do the real big surgery on my brother, me, my mother, my father. We're all standing there. The doctor's telling us what we're about to do. He's got I think he had a Jets surgical cap on.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he's telling us all this serious shit. He's like, this is what I'm going to do, blah, blah, blah. This is what he's all this serious medical jargon. And my father goes, that sounds great, Doc. He goes, there's just one problem. And the doctor's like, well, what is it? And my father goes, wrong cat. Giants.
Dude, it's funny. It's funny you say that because the doctor who delivered my son Lucas had a Dallas Cowboys, and my wife goes, "Come on, dude, he can't come into the world seeing that shit." Yeah.
Star. Oh my God. Yeah. So, I just remember that. I'm being like, Dad, come on, what the fucking read the fucking room, man. Jesus.
Yeah.
He was like, I was trying to.
Dude.
Yeah, but so. He ends up staying with me a couple more times for these surgeries, and the last surgery was a big one because they put these drains on him.
Yeah.
And there was some shit with his rib cage. I don't know if they had to move something or shave a rib down, some shit like that. These gunshot wounds were serious to the abdomen, but also when one of the bullets exited him at his back, it chipped a vertebrae.
Oof.
So like another fucking, I don't even know, 1/8 of an inch, centimeter, cut hair, whatever you want to call it. That vertebrae
Paralyzed.
shatters.
Oh, okay.
He's paralyzed, I believe.
Yeah.
So, they're doing all the stuff to him. He's got these drains. I got to help him change them every night. They're like draining this fluid out of him. And then when he was leaving my place, when he was getting ready to go, I was like, you know what, dude? I was like, Darren, why don't you just live with me here?
Yeah.
I was like, let's stay here with me. I was like, however long it takes for you
to get better. Yeah.
Or to get on your feet, whatever you need. And he's like, my son is up there. And I go, I'll put you on a bus every weekend. I don't give a fuck. Fucking both tickets both ways. I'll take care of it. And he's like, I can't. He's like, I want to see him more than that. And fucking couple months later, I'm at the stand with my buddy Gio. We had a show, like this convict comedy show. Mm-hmm. We did it at a bunch of different venues, but we really wanted to do the show there. So we were waiting to talk to Pat. We were meeting with him in person. And as we're waiting for him, we get there. He's like, hey, I just got to talk to somebody. I'll be right with you guys. Fucking hang tight. While we're waiting to talk to him, my mother calls. I send her the voicemail. She calls again. I send her the voicemail, and I was like, fuck. She called again. I was like, I got to take this. She's just like, Derek? I'm like, yeah. She's like, your brother's dead. He passed away. And I was like, are you sure? You know for a fact he's dead? And she was like, yeah. And then she was just like, I love you. I love you so much, but I'll call you when I have more information.
Oh, shit.
But I have to go. Yeah. And then I fucking went back over to Gio, and he's like, what happened? And I was like, my brother died. And he was like, yo, let's go. Let's just leave. We do this another day. I was like, nah. Let's wait and see if we're going to get the show or not. And then Pat comes over. He's like, yeah, give you guys a show.
I was going to say, that would have sucked.
Yeah,
Patrick was like,
I don't want to
listen, I got too many shows in here that night. Listen, Derek,
I would be like, not the worst thing I lost today. Not the worst thing I lost.
He's like, yeah, I got some bad news for you. He's like, you're like, do ya?
Yeah. Lay it on me.
Hey, Patrick, bring it on. Yeah. So, what did you? If you don't mind, what did your brother pass away from?
So he decided to use. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some cocaine. It had fentanyl in it.
Yeah.
And then fucking. It was rough because it was like during COVID time, kind of, right?
Yeah.
My father was sick, so they couldn't travel. Like both my parents retired bus drivers. They retired, fucking took their pensions. They moved down to South Carolina, bought like a real house and shit. So they can't come up. I got to handle all this shit on my own. Like, and as far as the wake went, I made it private.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if anybody comes in here high, because, bro, back in the day when my friends passed away, I'd go to their wakes high.
No, you can't. Yeah.
And like, that shit still sticks with me. Like, their family seeing.
Yeah.
And just being like, oh, we love them so much. Like,
you couldn't do that.
I couldn't do it.
No, that's the right thing.
And, dude, this thing is also, this was very funny. This is a true story. I go up, I'm signing the paperwork. It's very transactional.
Yeah.
And I'm writing the obituary, and then the guy comes out. He's like, listen. He's like, your brother did have fentanyl in his system. but he was also positive for COVID.
What?
And I'm like, what they put fentanyl in the COVID now too? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Your brother had fentanyl, but he wasn't wearing a mask.
Yeah. We're gonna
Good news,
chalk
bad
this
news.
one up.
He was high.
Well, I can't, the balls to even say. It's like, can you call me later with that? You
But bro,
fuck.
I almost fell on the floor
Oh, dude.
laughing. Like,
Please tell me. Do you put? I mean, it must be too hard to put in your act right now.
I've said it.
Oh, okay.
On
Yeah.
stage.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, you. I mean, and I'm sure your brother.
It worked in a theater, and I don't give a fuck if it ever works ever again. I could care less.
I'm sure that when you go on stage and you're living this life of working at being a stand-up comedian, you take your brother with you, and that drives you as well, right?
100%.
Yeah, and that's amazing, man.
The thing is that I could have passed away just as easily, too. Like, when, that time they saved me, who knows, another couple minutes. If my brother's not there, I'm definitely not making it out alive. And the thing with my brother, like, I really should fucking write, like, a book or
Dude,
a
a
script
book,
about
a movie about your life.
I got to tell this other
It's
story.
like a one-man show. I'd buy tickets to 15
Dude, I'm gonna
times.
tell
I
you
was thinking
something.
about doing.
I told you.
Call it the red ticket.
I told you that. Oh my God, dude. You have to. I'm sure people listening to this, somebody's gonna want to make this,
I'll
dude.
direct it right now. I commit.
Dude,
to it.
dude, if you did a fucking.
For real?
Dude, if you did a fucking one-man show called The Red Ticket, it would be, and you're able to talk like this and do that in a performance. Dude, I mean, I'm sitting here, I've done 613, this is the 613th Virzi Effect, where I'm talking to myself at home in the studio, where I'm sitting in this thing talking, and I'm literally listening to you. We're literally at an hour, we got a couple minutes left, and I'm sitting here going like, I'm listening to you talk, and I'm going like, literally that scene in Joe Dirt, where he was on talking to Dennis Miller on the radio, and everybody's listening in, and it's just like, from the shit you did, from the walking in the rain to then I thought your brother, when you grabbed your brother's leg and then he gets shot and all these things that he survived, and now you're here, you're in the New York comedy scene, you're out there doing it, you're clean, you're clean and sober. It's an incredible story, man, and you're funny.
I appreciate
That's
that.
the thing, and
That's the most important thing.
Paul and I both had hard outs after 45 minutes
All right.
of the show. No.
No.
All right.
What I'm saying is that neither of us were like, I'm not.
Like-
I'm gonna be late to whatever I
yeah,
gotta
like
get to.
I'm like this is probably
happy to
one
be.
of the my wife lost her brother to overdose, and a lot of people listening to this. I feel bad that my fucking sponsors a weed thing, but
Oh no,
don't
don't feel bad.
No.
I'm signed to gas. I have to do You'll Kratom fucking ad reads.
okay.
It's fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
No, but it's like it's like to listen to somebody, because like you said, you easily from when the first woman said to you, you're going to die.
Yeah.
When she looked at you, she looked at your arm, she saw your condition, and she said, you're going to die. Do you want me to help you? And you made that decision. Yes. Easily you go the other way, and you're not sitting here on the show right now. And it's amazing, brother. It's really, really fucking amazing and inspiring. It's inspiring to me, and I think it should be inspiring to anybody out there, and some people that are struggling, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, whether it's mental health. Some people that don't even use have mental health, or some people are suicidal, and you listen to this and you're just like, dude, things can get better.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, dude.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate you having me on and being able to I haven't talked about this stuff in a while, but I like you a lot, and you're like you seem like a stand-up dude to me, or you are. So
I appreciate
yeah.
that too. Yeah.
So I want me to tell this last story.
Last story.
It's all right. So me and my brother, fucking. I'm actually kind of happy I talked about this stuff today. It's like
Feel better?
Yeah, because it's not that I felt bad coming in, but like I know that we were both addicts. I know I've been arrested over 30 times. I know I've done a lot of bad things, and there's probably still some stuff out there that I have to answer for. You know what I mean? And when I'm called upon for that, I will. But like at our like truest selves, we're good, fun loving like guys. Like I open the doors for women and all that. I'm respectful when I go out now, but when I get caught up in the drugs and that other life, all that shit goes right out the window. But that's who like we truly are. But I remember I'm in a halfway house, and my brother was also in a halfway house, different halfway houses. I relapse. So they're like, you have to go to Detox before we let you back in here. So I was like, all right, I go to Detox. I'm sitting in Detox. They're going to make me stay there for like 72 hours, 3 days. So I'm sitting in Detox, and it's basically like a dorm with like a nurse bubble, you know, like that glass thing. So there's this girl that I used to get high with back in the day who like works there now. She was like a counselor. And she's looking at me, and she's on the phone and looking at me again. So I'm like, fuck. I'm like, oh, my parole officer must be here or some shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, because I was on papers at the time. And and using drugs is a violation. So, and she hated me already, my PO. And then she like walks by me. I'm like, hey. I'm like, yo, Allie, fucking, what's going on? I was like, is my PO here? She's like, no, don't worry about it. You're fine. And then she comes back again. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Because there was like I saw more commotion. And she goes, all right. She goes, listen, your brother is here, but we can't let him in because we can't have two family members here at the same time. That's the rules. And I go, oh damn. I go, he relapsed too? And she goes, no, he got in a fight, but they kicked him out. And this is like his hub to stay until we find him another treatment center, but we can't have him here. We have to send him away. And I was thinking for a second, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna stay clean. I was like, I already relapsed, and I was like, and my brother got into a fight. I was like, and he's here. I was like, I'm leaving. And she was like, no, she's like, you can't do that. She's like, you're gonna get in trouble. You need to be here. I was like, no, I'm walking out. I was like, my brother is the one that needs to be in here because I don't know what's gonna happen with me. And I fucking walked out. So my brother.
That's awesome.
So my brother could have the bed. And then I just remember my PO was like, you are fucked, pal. She's like, you are done. I can't wait till I see you. I'm sending your ass right back. I was like, I don't give a fuck, dude. Catch me if you can. Find me when, But we were very, very close, and I miss him.
Yeah.
I didn't even tell you how I started comedy, but I will tell you this, fucking Mike DiStefano's like a huge inspiration to me.
Yes. He's the silhouette logo at the stand, and I'm so happy you made it through. And you know what, man? Maybe we'll do a part 2 of this sometime.
Anytime.
You know,
I wish it was a little more structured, but
no, dude, it couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
I don't think it could have been better. Yeah. Honestly, it's probably one of the best podcasts I've ever done. So it's incredibly interesting and motivating and inspirational, man. Derek Drescher, please plug anything that you have. I know people can see you at the stand in New York City all the time.
Yep.
Check this dude out. So funny to talk to. Such a cool dude. And, check out your website, dates, anything like that.
I have, listen to On the Gate podcast. It's, is it okay to plug another podcast?
Of course. On the Gate podcast.
On the Gate podcast. That's me and Gio Perez. Is two jailbird junkies turned jokesters. And we have, people, other reformed people on and comedians. It's a fun time. And I'll be at the stand all weekend, and just click the link tree on my Instagram.
Perfect. Yeah. And such a pleasure having you guys. For my dates, go to paulvirzi.com. I have a bunch of stuff coming up this next week, guys. Next Friday, Netflix is a Joke Comedy Festival at the Troubadour. It's 150 tickets. I don't know how many are gone. I don't know what's left, but get in there. It is May 10th, Friday night, the late show in LA. I also have June 8th, Gramercy Theater. Tickets are available. It's a makeup date. It's in New York City. Get that. We got Rhode Island. We got Tampa. July, we're going to be in Seattle, Portland. Go to paulvirzi.com. Check out the special nocturnal admissions. Also, Bone to Pick and the Red Clay Comedy Festival, May 11th. Me and Bobby Kelly doing the first live Bone to Pick, May 11th, 8 o'clock at the Earl for the Red Clay. Mikey will be there. It's going to be amazing. We're doing stand-up, then we're doing the live podcast. We're going to have merch. It's going to be great. Derek, the best.
Thank you so much for
having me,
guys.
Such a great show, man. All the best to you. Keep killing. I'll see you at the stand, and I'll see you guys next week on The Virzi Effect. Thank you.